All right, everybody, what's going on? This is Josh from Everett Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac. Today I'm out here and we're doing a little comparison video. In this video, we're gonna give you an overview of each vehicle. We're gonna show you some details about each vehicle and then do a test drive. So as you see behind me, we have the 2022 Tesla Model Y and the 2023 Bolt EUV. You might be asking yourself, why are you comparing these two vehicles with over $10,000 in price difference? You might think they're different, but actually they're pretty similar when it comes down to it when you break it down. As you can see, the Bolt is a little taller behind me, so you have a little more headroom than you do in the Tesla, whereas the Tesla is a little longer, so you got a little more cargo space in the back than compared to the Bolt. As well as the Tesla is a dual motor vehicle, so that means you have an engine over the front axle and an engine over the rear axle, so that's gonna give you some power going down the road. Very similar vehicles. Now let's get down into the details. All right, so as you come to this Bolt EUV, the first thing I want to point out is not something about the vehicle itself, but it's actually about the key fob. So this is something that you're used to if you've driven any GM vehicle before, or any vehicle for that matter. It's got your unlock, it's got your lock, it's got your automatic start and alarm on the key fob here. Also, just wanted to point out the lights. Super nice as they kind of fade in from right to left there, really beautiful. So what you're used to on a key fob. Another thing is the charging port. The charging port is right here in front of the driver's side door over that front left wheel. That is super accessible and easy to get to. By the way, you get 95 miles on a 30-minute charge. So if you're doing math, we said earlier this gets up to 250 miles. That's gonna give you about 5 hours to go fully charged on this vehicle. Now inside the vehicle, you do have that 10.2-inch display center that we're gonna show off during our test drive, as well as a driver information center that's gonna give you how much time you have left on your charge. It's gonna give you following distance indicators. It's gonna give you your speed you're going. It's gonna give you your power usage, which is a super nice feature to know how much power you're using and how much you're regenerating there on the back end. You have the regen button as part of the steering wheel there, and then also the Super Cruise is on the steering wheel. So we're gonna talk about that on the test drive. We hope that you enjoy it. Now let's look at the engine. All right, so we did want to point out the engine bay to you as a direct comparison for the Tesla Model Y. As you can see, all of your components are in this engine bay. You're gonna see, we're gonna show you the engine bay of the Tesla Model Y, which is really a frunk. So that is a front trunk storage space. With this Bolt EUV, unfortunately, you don't get the front trunk storage space, but you do get to see all the components that make up your vehicle. All right, so as we now come to the Tesla Model Y, again, the first thing I want to point out is something not about the vehicle itself, but about the way you access the vehicle. It is with a key card. Obviously, there is an app that comes with this vehicle as well that you can use, but with the key card, you're going to come here to the driver's side door, kind of to the middle portion, and that is going to unlock your vehicle for you. So super simple way, kind of a little confusing when you first come to it though, not something you're used to as opposed to the Chevy, so something to consider when you're shopping these vehicles. Now also we talked about the storage space on the Tesla. You have the rear storage space area that's a little larger. That is a power lift gate as well as a button close lift gate, so you can just power lift that easily and then hit a button and it'll close for you. So let me open up the front for us real fast. A little bit of storage space in there where you can maybe fit a carry-on size suitcase or a duffel bag, something like that. So you do get that extra storage space on the front of this vehicle. Another thing about the exterior of the Tesla Model Y is that you get 19-inch wheels with that, whereas the Chevy Bolt EUV, you get 17-inch wheels. So a little different there. Now let's take these two vehicles on a test drive. All right, so here we are in the car. I'm in the car with Savannah, who's one of our marketing team members, and we're just gonna take this Tesla Model Y on a little test drive. Savannah, your first thoughts just kind of jumping in the car. What do you think?
I am a tech person, believe me. All my family asked me how to do stuff, why is it not working? But when I got in this car, I was confused, I'm not gonna lie. I would have to spend days, if not weeks, studying the manual to try and figure everything out. So
one of the things that I want to talk about was Tesla's self-driving feature. Tesla's kind of known for that, as well as the EV. The way you engage the self-driving feature is you have to pull down twice on this one on the gear shifter, and that puts you into the self-driving mode. We're going about 45 miles an hour. This is going to be a direct comparison to GM Super Cruise that we'll test drive in the Bolt. So this allows you to do all the tech things that Tesla offers you, like your texting and things of that nature. There is no Apple CarPlay in the Tesla. You can connect via Bluetooth. That's how you play your music. That's how you talk on your phone, things of that nature. So that is kind of in the city, so to say. Self-driving features for Tesla. We're gonna make a little turn here, get on the highway, see what it's like on the highway. You can still brake also with the region feature. Like, the region slows you down, so that's why it's harder to get used to. I kind of liken it to when someone's first learning how to drive a stick shift and they're grinding the gear, they're not finding that contact point yet on the clutch. That's kind of what the region feature is like when you're first getting used to it. You're kind of just getting thrown around. I will say the ride in the Tesla is not the smoothest.
Yeah, I felt smoother, that's for sure. But also, with what it offers, I think I can maybe, yeah. You know,
You're like, yeah, if I'm watching, you know, my most recent Netflix binge
while my car drives
itself, I guess I can go for a little bit of a rougher ride.
Right.
Yeah. There are 3 different driving features, driving types in the Tesla. There is the Comfort, the Sport, and the Standard when it comes to the steering wheel in the driving. So, or I think they call it Chill, not Comfort. So, it'll be found in your driver settings here on your screen.
Oh yeah. Chill.
Yeah, acceleration, Chill, and Sport, and then steering mode is Comfort, Standard, and Sport. When it comes to charging the Tesla, it's about 9.5 hours to a full charge when using a charger, and then also you can get up to 330 miles on a singular charge. And I actually saw some stats on how much that costs, so it's about $45 a month on the Tesla to charge it. Kind of your average cost there. So I thought that was interesting.
It's not too bad.
All right, we're gonna jump on the interstate now, see how this thing does 0 to 60, see how we feel as we're accelerating. So here we go.
It's so quiet.
It is very quiet. Oh yeah, accelerates really well.
It does.
Yeah, for some of the features like the Tracks feature where you can make your own music, the Romance feature, the Light Show, all those things are just available in park. They're not available while you're driving. Yeah. The details, I would say there's some stitching, there's some wood grain, but it's very minimalistic, yeah. Tesla does not have a wide rear view mirror, which will show that to you in the Bolt, and that's fine. But because the back glass is slanted so much, it kind of limits your view on the rear view mirror. I was looking out, we were at a stop sign, and I was kind of looking behind me to see the vehicle, and I felt like I could only see just a sliver. One thing we did also want to talk about before we get back is the charging areas for your phones. There's a large charging area down here where you can put your phones. It will charge your phones if you have the right case to that your phone is in for charging. All right, now we'll test drive the Bolt. All right, so here we are in the Chevy Bolt. Savannah, your first impressions when you sat down in it?
It's not as cool and as aesthetic as the Tesla Model Y, but I think it does have its advantages as far as price point and kind of like usability, if that's the word I'm looking for. Like, it's user friendly. Where you think it is where it's going to be in this car.
Yeah. If you're first getting into EVs, this is kind of a car for you because you have some of your standard features, especially with like GM. So your buttons on your steering wheel, your talk to text, your lane keep assist, your cruise control, things of that nature. All right, so here we are getting on the highway. We're gonna try out Super Cruise in a second, but one thing that I did want to point out that I thought was interesting between this and the Tesla is that this shows how much power I'm actually using while I'm driving. And the Tesla didn't necessarily show that, and it didn't show how much power I'm regenerating when I'm braking or using the regen paddle. And so I think that that's kind of interesting. If you're somebody who likes information and wants to track things like that, you're able to do that just from looking at your driver information center. So we're going to turn on some adaptive cruise. All right, so now we get this steering wheel emblem that's available to us in our driver information center. And we're going to hit the Super Cruise button. We'll see the steering wheel lights up green. and we're good to let go of the steering wheel at that point, and it'll take us kind of on our journey. A couple things to note is that you have a camera right here on the steering wheel that's going to be looking at you, so your eyes have to be focused on the road. Right. Now I can obviously turn to you like we're having a conversation now and things are fine, but if your eyes are off the road for longer than 3 seconds, it'll start to warn you, and then you have to take over steering. So it is safe in that sense. You can't fall asleep or anything like that. Right. But the steering wheel is going to keep us in the center of the lane. It's going to keep us going the speed we want to. Now, if you have an older version Chevy or GM vehicle, and that button, that Super Cruise button, used to be your heated steering wheel button, and you might be asking yourself, well, where did my heated steering wheel button go? Well, that is now here in your center console. So it's just a button right here in your center console that you can turn on and off for your heated steering wheel. When I was looking at the Tesla Y, and when I sat in it, I'm like, okay, where is the self-driving feature button? Like, how do I turn this on? I'm scrolling through, looking at the screen, can't find anything, thinking maybe it'll be there. But I found out it was actually on the gear shifter, like we showed in the video. The button is right here on your steering wheel. It's much more accessible, right, and much easier to see. So just a different kind of way about going about things. Also talking about our rear view mirror, the Chevy Bolt has the live camera view, which is really something to get used to. But what's so nice about this is that you can have the back of your car just packed to the hilt, and you can still see out the back. And as opposed to the Tesla where it was that very thin window, this you can see a lot more. So it's definitely kind of helps make the car much more feature safe. The max power of this vehicle is about 250 miles that you can get for a full charge. So as you're planning about that, as you're planning and thinking about is EV right for you, think about how often you drive 250 miles, or when you take trips, you drive over that. There's a great map resource though online where you can see how far those chargers are spread apart. GM will install a charger for you. However, that is a little timed out, so you might want to look at some different options, getting the credit to do it yourself or something like that. This Chevy Bolt is available for the $7,500 government rebate as well, or government tax credit as well. So both the Tesla new, the Tesla buy new when you buy it new, and this Chevy Bolt when you buy it new is eligible for that tax rebate. So those are some nice kind of things to know when coming to these, comparing and contrasting these two vehicles. So a couple of other things about the center console here. You do have a charging station for one phone. The Tesla had a charging station for two. There's a lot of space under the center console for storage, which is really nice. Two great little cup holders here. Tesla had a couple of cup holders as well. On your driver information center, you have your speed limit signs as well as your following distance indicator. So this tells you how far you are from the person in front of you. One thing to note about Super Cruise is that you have to have adaptive cruise control turned on. So this is just your cruise control, so you hit this cruise control button first. Make sure that is on before Super Cruise is available to you. So those are just some things to note. Obviously, you don't have your Netflix, you don't have your web browser available to you, you don't have your car karaoke or anything like that. But I mean, if you're singing along to your tunes in your car, you pretty much know the lyrics anyway. Right. Yeah. You don't have a light show in this one. You don't have a fireplace or anything like that. But definitely a very functional EV for people, daily commuters, smaller families, anything like that are trying to save a little bit when it comes to their gas bill. There is not one pedal driving on this car, so kind of how when I was talking to Tesla about hitting your gas pedal and then releasing, kind of that feeling, that jerky motion, that's not on this vehicle. You just have your brakes, but the brakes, we said they are a little touchy when it comes to that. So, but definitely overall, this is a great kind of entry level EV for people who might be interested in something like it.
For sure.
So the Bolt also has teen driver settings where you can get a teen report card of how your teen is driven. You can set speed limits, you can set audio limits, different things of that nature. And then it has a valet mode if you're ever valeting the Bolt. You want to go to a fancy dinner one night and show off Super Cruise and then valet your Bolt. It has a valet mode where you can kind of set some restrictions for your valet. It'll record what your valet has done and things of that nature. And then I also want to talk about kind of the regen paddle. So, this doesn't have the one pedal driving, but this regen paddle, you can, instead of using the brake paddle, you can use this to kind of give you some power back as you're driving, and kind of it slows you down. So that's kind of how they do that instead of the one pedal driving. So definitely an interesting thing to use, something to get used to as you're driving your EV. But overall, I think the Bolt is a great alternative to the Tesla. If you're wanting something that is maybe not as minimalistic, that's something that you're more used to, something along the same lines with the self-driving features and that nature, I think it's a great option to have. The two price points, this being $38,000, the Tesla right now is sitting at $51,500, so a little more expensive for the Tesla, almost $13,000 more expensive for the Tesla, when you can kind of get a lot of the same features within the Bolt. So definitely a couple great options for you to come and check out. So we've given you a little overview about each vehicle. We've gone on a test drive so you can see what it is like to sit inside this vehicle and drive it for yourself. But don't just take our word for it. Come on down, compare these two vehicles today. If you're in the market for an EV, we'd love to see you, or you can shop our selection anytime at everettchevy.com.